Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your soon-to-be weekend. A couple of reminders. This weekend, up until midnight of June 2nd, we are running a promotion. If you sign up for fall lessons now, you get $50 off in any instrument. And if you have siblings, any multiple people want to do it, $50 off for everyone. So please reach out, fill out our interest form online, RaleighSchoolMusic.com, and I will try to get back to you this weekend so that you can get that promotion by the end because we want you to be able to come in the fall. And we have some new teacher, Austin. I don't know if he's watching right now, but Austin is one of our new piano teachers. And I'm hoping to have another voice teacher at some point. We will see. We will see. But until then, please sign up for lessons for the fall. Our fall starts the week after Labor Day. So we would love to have you. Also, recitals are next Saturday, June 7th at Keenan Recital Hall at Peace College. And they're all day 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8 p.m. So pick a time and come. They are open to everyone, and you can come hear some good music. And summer lessons, if you're interested, start September 6th, June 16th. And so if you are interested, we still have signups ready for that, are open for that. So come and work with a teacher in a much more relaxed environment in the summer, a little bit more loosey-goosey. The lessons are scheduled around your schedule since we know people go away for vacations and stuff. So you can get a package of 6 lessons or you can get a package of 10. And again, they run in 30, 45, and hour lessons. Typically, the younger students, elementary age, are 30 minutes. And for certain instruments, we suggest everybody started at 30 minutes, but sometimes for voice, we would suggest 45 minutes for a middle schooler and an hour for adults and high schoolers. We have a ton of adults at our school. So adults, if you are interested in lessons, we would love to have you. And we do have our adult chorus that will be meeting on Thursdays. They're still working out the time right now, but it'll be Thursday evenings. So there's still space for that if you would like to join. All right, so today I wanted to talk about friendship. We've talked about it a little bit, but I was listening to a podcast today of a psychologist, and I listen to his podcast a lot. And he was interviewing someone who had written a book on friendship. Specifically, it was during COVID time when we were talking about the loneliness epidemic. And he specifically wrote on male friendship, which I thought was interesting. What the most interesting part about that podcast for me was that he was talking about the different ways that he experimented trying to find new friends. And so he would do a bunch of things. He would talk about how sometimes with men, it's like purpose driven. So he would do invite friends for certain things, not just to invite to hang out, but to do certain things. Like, for instance, I thought this was really cool that he went back to his high school friends and he was trying to think of the best time in high school when he had a lot of friends and it was like they really had the time of their lives, and he was just thinking about what he could do. And he talked about senior skip day. So they all had so much fun in senior skip day. So he decided, I guess, to go on his high school reunion Facebook page, and he goes and he asks, hey, do you guys want to have another senior skip day? So he goes to a field where they agreed to meet, and he was just sitting there for a while, twiddling his thumbs, where he sees people walking their dogs and stuff, and he was really worried that they wouldn't come. And there wound up being like 30 and 40 or 40 people that came to that, and I thought that was really a neat idea. Then he said that there was some trend. It started in Canada where guys would make sheds and then they would go and hang out in sheds. And it started with this retirement home where the one of the guys who was like a retired guy, older guy, was so frustrated with the lineup of what they do for fun stuff at his home he was like, it's all geared towards women. And so he was like, well, fine, I'm going to go find my own thing. And he found like a shed on the property and he decided that that was going to be his and the guy space. And so it started a whole trend. And so he and his friends made a shed and during COVID, they would light fires, bonfires, or and then they at one point it was like dwindling because again, as adults, and I think not just as adults, everybody, after COVID, it's been very hard to, I don't know, to meet people. It's just hard to make friends. It just is. So he was seeing his numbers dwindle. He was seeing that the people were less engaged and not answering him as much to do things. So again, he thought about purpose, and so he was like, "Why not make a BMX bike trail or some kind of BMX thing, something made out of wood. So I don't know if it was like a ramp or something. Maybe it was a ramp. And so they were all like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they all start to meet so that they can make this ramp. Now they didn't actually ever make it, but it was that purpose. It was that, you know, it was that the reason to all meet. Also, he talked about Wednesday nights. So just having a group of people, just meeting every Wednesday night, having dinner together. And he met people through his work, met people through his neighborhood, met people at the gym. And he just started inviting them on Wednesday nights and they would go. So I thought that was a really cool idea. So I just think about my own life, think about us as musicians, and um, I think it's hard to meet people just in general. It just is. I think that we've talked about this before. I feel like in this area, I feel like a lot of people make their families, their nuclear family, their everything. I think they become their entertainment, their, I mean, just everything, their confidants, everything. And, we need more than that. We are a community oriented people. And so we need more than that. So I was on a mission because, it is tough as a music school owner when I am here every day and doing stuff for the school every day. It's not the easiest thing meeting people. And so I definitely think there is something to meeting people at gyms. I have a wonderful group of friends here in the area, and I met them through my gym. And so we go out every so often. And I think the coolest thing we've done thus far is that we had a high tea party. I'm a huge high tea person. I love England, and I love even went to Kensington Palace, which Queen Victoria was in Kensington Palace, and she's my favorite queen of all times. If you ever see The Young Victoria, it is such a great movie. But I just think she was an amazing queen. And so getting to go to that tour and then getting to go to the high tea afterwards. And high tea is like the tiered plates. And then you have like the little finger sandwiches and stuff. And you have different like hors d'oeuvre type things. And then you have tea. And so I thought it might be cool if we did something like that, and I didn't have the tiered plates, but we definitely were able to make like the cucumber sandwiches and pimento cheese sandwiches and all that. And so, and had some good tea. So I like these ideas of like these themed things to do something different where we're not always, just going out to dinner or something like that, but doing something different. Um, and I think also it's just tough, but we get so stuck in our to-do list and our obligations that sometimes either A, we're too busy or we're exhausted after we have to do the things. And then we feel like we have to be on. But I think friendship is where you don't have to be on. Friendship is where you can relax. And I think it's just like the exact opposite of what people think. I think like true friendship is where you get to relax a little bit. You get to just be yourself. Um, so going different places, like I mean, in Raleigh, there's tons of things to do. I mean, there's tons of plays here if you like to go to plays. There's tons of, you always can go to a movie, anything like that. There's a ton of things to do. It's just doing it. It's just putting ourselves out there, and we just don't put ourselves out there very much anymore. I mean, it's just means making yourself vulnerable because there's always the chance that it's not going to be able to happen, right? But I think if we don't do that, if we just stop doing that, then it's only going to get, the problem is only going to get worse and worse and worse, and we're going to get more and more and more lonely. I don't think it's just male loneliness. I don't think it's just guys that are lonely. I think it's everybody. I think everybody could always do more with people. The guy said that I really liked, he said, about best friends. He said best friends for him are people that he could, that it can come, at a moment's notice if necessary, but there are regularly. And I think that our friend groups, we can go months without seeing them. So is that really being vulnerable? Is that really being close? I was talking about this with my therapist today too. I think that P yes, we have to know who is going to be our emergency contact, but we can't just expect people to be our emergency contacts without doing the work, without putting ourselves out there. And again, it's meaning risking yourself for somebody to say no, that's not, it's not going to work. And that then you come across as whatever, maybe you come across as needy or whatever. It You can't worry about that. You just have to keep putting yourself out there. And I just don't think that people have been willing to do that. And I think if we could start to make ourselves do that, I think that this society would be so much nicer. We would be so much more productive. I mean, there's just so many positives. I think and something else that I've done this year is that not only do we reach out to our friends our own age, we meet people our own age or around our own age, but to reach out to other ages too. I've been training for Pilates for a while now, and my Pilates instructor is this like little petite Indian woman who is like 70s or 80s, and just I find her to be such a friend. Like we just really have hit it off. I don't know if you're into the zodiac stuff or anything, but I'm an Aquarius, and my moon is in Sagittarius and she is a Sagittarius, and we just really understand each other. Sagittarians like fun and lighthearted, and she has such a great outlook on life. I'm learning so much from her, and I just feel like we just are close. I mean, so doesn't when you're finding friends, you don't have to find someone from your own age group. You can find people that are not in your age group. And friends don't always look the same. Friends do different things for you. Like she's not someone I would go out with, on the town and go, dance or go whatever. Like that's not somebody, but she would be somebody that if something happened, or if she needed something, or if I needed something, or um I don't know, somebody to learn from, and somebody to she's so funny. Every time I would come there for training, she would make me some different foods. And so she's very much a yogi. And so her school of yoga, they believe in being a vegetarian. So she's trying to get me to be a vegetarian, at least while I train. So I am almost done with my Pilates training. I'm going to be taking the test, I think, in 2 weeks. And then after that, I want to train to be a yoga teacher. And then after that, hopefully a yoga therapist. So we'll see. Um, but her school of yoga says that they have to be vegetarians when they train. So she's been making me all this stuff. She made me chutney. She made me lots of chickpea different foods and stuff. And just, I feel, when I think of her, I just feel it's such a warm feeling because I feel like this is someone who truly cares, and I care about them. And they're not in my age group. And I would never have met her without going to the gym, because you can meet people at the gym. Also, at my gym, a lot of people, all ages, go and they just hang out. They go and sit. I mean, like we even have puzzles and stuff at the gym. Like it's like a way to, um, Commune. That's kind of where I would love to see the school go, that we're not just a music school, but that we offer other things too. Like, hence why I'm starting Pilates. And she might be coming in next year to do some yoga workshops throughout the year. So more to come to that about that. But I've kind of been thinking about this for a while, this like one-stop shop, like doing some physical stuff, like maybe having a trainer, but then maybe also like some mental stuff too. And so maybe having like therapists. Since I don't know, the jury is out on that, but I like this idea of having a lot of things under one roof and letting people be here and commune, because I think what makes life beautiful is how we share it with other people, just like in music, how we share of ourselves when we play and how people are taking in. It's the same thing I think that is, and maybe you disagree, but I think that's the secret of life. I think that's why we're here. I think that's why we're here. So how do we relate this back to the music world? Because I always want to. I just think about, I'll tell you my experience with friendship. I think being a musician and making friends is tough because you also have the added pressure. You have a few added pressures, but one of them could be that you're both going for the same thing. So there could be some jealousy there. It could be that there is manipulation and stuff because you're wanting what something that somebody else can give. So there's a lot of, but then also having the more positive side is that you have an ally, someone that you can um, vent to, someone that you can uh, relate to because you guys are in the same group, you know? I think it's tough though to make friends. I think that sometimes that being alone, practicing in your practice room, it makes it harder to talk to people. And especially if you have this goal, you're like going to you have to play this and this and this. You have this like one track mind sometimes. So I just think about my college experience as a musician, and I think all of the different considerations about being a friend in college came true for me. So there were definitely friends who were I didn't feel like I could trust very much. Like kind of frenemies. So people that were nice to me on the surface, but then, if something were to come up or whatever, they would be the first one to step all over me to get wherever they want to go. And there was fake friends and stuff, people that I couldn't really confide in. But then there was also such allies. And it was like going through war because this stuff, being learning how to be a musician, going up and being and putting yourself out there every year to get a grade, it can be quite scary. And so having someone who could kind of commiserate and understand, it made those times when we would go out and just like let loose so much more fun. And it definitely let some of the pressure out. So I just think of that time fondly. And then as an adult, working at an opera company and seeing that how people work together and how friendships are formed, and um it was a unique experience. I don't know if I ever told you guys, I lived in Asheville for a while and I worked at their with the opera company. So I got uh, a backstage, literally backstage, a view of how people formed friendships and were friends and opera companies. I mean, it's interesting because in Asheville there was such a tight-knit group of people together. And so getting to see them get to know each other a lot and getting to really trust and to be able to even gel, not just as friends but also as fellow musicians, and so be able to know each other so well that they were able to make music with them very, very easily. So it was a kind of a really nice introduction into the professional world when I got out of grad school, to see how close they were. So, and I guess this talk is really just about how important it is to have real friends within the profession as a musician and outside of it. And so, what are you doing to cultivate your friendships? What are you doing to reach out to people? Because if you are expecting people just to do that for you and then you kind of just are taking a passive role, I don't think it's enough, especially not for this time, especially because we're so used to being passive. And so, since COVID, we're all used to being in our own little bubble. It's going to have to be, you're going to have to put a little bit more effort into it. I know that's scary. So start small. If you have literally no one, not anyone to, and when I say you don't have anyone, do you have someone you could call in an emergency, that someone that you know will be there? Now that is a different tier of friendship, right? That is a very close friend. But do you have that? But do you have a friend that you can just call up and do something every now and then? Either way, start there. Go to somebody you already know, and if it's been a while, go back to old friends and reach out to them. If not, go to your gym, come to our music school, come to a convocation and talk to someone. Um, Come join our chorus. I mean, so I'm thinking of ways that we can help you with that. But I think being in a place where you guys are all doing stuff together is really, really helpful. And not, for me, I always like kind of I go, whoa, 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 when I feel someone is like really coming on strong. So don't try to be someone else. Just relax, relax. You might have something happen, like you're in a gym class and you accidentally trip and you just say something out loud. Oh wow, I am so smooth, or something like that, and then like start that conversation like that. Oh, I also do acting classes, so getting into acting classes, also rec leagues. Although I would stay away from any rec leagues where there's arguing going on and stuff like that, because that would not be very positive. But we are stuck, especially those of us who have families who are doing stuff all the time and are exhausted. I think we also have to find time, and I think more than say once a month. I think more than twice a month. Really, I think that we should be meeting with friends. This is my opinion. You could be completely different. I would be a happy camper to see a friend every week. You know, it doesn't have to be every day, but every week. I think for me, that fills my cup in terms of, but I think we need it just like we need food, we need water, we need air, we need sleep, we need artistic outlet. I mean, we need to work out, all of those things, but we also need friendship. This is probably the first generation, the first time ever where there might be some people that literally go the whole lives without having friends. I look at my church. I've talked about my church before. It's a bunch of state professors. A lot of them are introverts. And it's kind of funny because they don't really know. Sometimes they don't really know how to talk to me. It's just I laugh about it because I actually like that very much when they don't say what you would think people would say. They don't know the small talk kind of stuff. But I just wonder about them and I worry about them because we have a lot of older people and I worry, are they alone all the time? This is a morbid thing, but something that's come in my brain is that my uncle, his name was Uncle Dick. If you can imagine an Uncle Dick, he was he was a character to say the least. And he would and come to holidays and have a meal with us. Well, this is so morbid, but he died and nobody knew that he was dead for 2 weeks. He was in his place by himself on a recliner and been dead for 2 weeks. To me, that's like my worst nightmare. That's my worst nightmare. So we have to change that. And I'm not saying when we're older, you can't control who's here, like who's dead and who's not. But if we don't start now, at any age, cultivating our relationships, we are almost guaranteed to have a very similar situation as that, right? We are almost guaranteed that. Don't you want to afford yourself any possible chance to not have that as much as possible? Also, life is just so much better shared. It just is. You talk about these people who won the lottery, they like did all this or whatever. Were they really happy? No, because I think the secret of happiness, one of the ways is to be in community. So if you won $1 million or whatever it is. If you have nobody to share it with, then what's the point? What's the point? It's the same thing with music. What's the point of learning your instrument if you're not going to share? Music is meant to be shared. Humans are meant to be shared. That sounds horrible, but I just think that we are not meant to be completely on our own. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.